Hello, a very good morning to you all. My name is Daddy Chris from SRTV Dex here in London. Oh, I wish somebody is taking over from this old man. Well, this is Rise and Shine Nigeria. Yesterday we started to rebrand the program from Wake Up Nigeria to Rise and Shine. So when you see Rise and Shine, it's the same program as Wake Up Nigeria. This is the show where we wake you up, where we say Rise and Shine Nigeria. You are the biggest, you're the largest, with the best of all. We have the resources to be number one in the world, not in Africa. We shouldn't be comparing ourselves with anybody. They should be comparing themselves with us. That's what we should be doing. We should set the pace, Nigeria. And that's what I believe, and that's why I get up every morning and I come down here to talk to Nigerians on what we can do to be a great nation. And that's what we are here to do today again. It's a special day. It is a great day. And already in the studio, I have Abuja and I have Lagos. Asaba is loading. Today, I wanted us to do something very, very unusual. It's not one of those things we do. We just want to focus on a particular area of the country. Hopefully, we're able to use that to as a point of contact to drive on what the states can do to make Nigeria a great nation. What did I say? We're going to use a state as a point of contact. You know, those is when I get some people away. You say, I use that as a point of contact. I use that. Oh, I'm not saying that's people away. Anyway, that's what we're going to do today. A point of contact will be Delta State. We want to take a look at the economy of Delta State. I'm not talking about the performance of the governor in particular, but you know, when you talk of the economy of Delta State, you're going to drag the governor in. So it's not something personal, but we're just using Delta as a case study. To be honest, Delta is a mini Nigeria. In terms of the multiple tribes, you have they rely only on oil. Delta has oil, so Delta could be Nigeria. So anything that happens in Nigeria happens in Delta. So talking about Delta and looking at what we can do in Delta is meaning what we can do in Nigeria. And also, hopefully, other states will be able to learn from this. That is what we'll do on this show this morning. Well, with me already is I have Asaba. Asaba is not here. Okay, but Merival, you know the Abuja women are here. Hello.
Good morning, Daddy.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you this morning?
I'm good. You know what? I was just listening to one. I would do that one in this morning. Anyway, how is Wicked treating you guys over there?
Oh my God, Wike is treating us fine. At least he's developing Abuja. But something happened yesterday, though.
And that's
Around
Wicked is developing Abuja. We want to see what is development. The topic of today is the meaning of development. That's where we will understand whether they are actually developing or they are infrastructure governors.
so the thing is, it was what he did when he was still the governor of Rivers State that he's still doing. So maybe that's his own pattern. I believe every governor with their own pattern of how they want to develop their state. He's the kind of person that I think his own developmental pattern is construction of roads. You understand?
Yes.
And which is something he's doing in Abuja. They have been constructing roads,
bridges, roads. You know.
yes,
Uh-huh.
not just road, even bridge as well. He does
I
that.
know. We have that. We'll be looking at that deeply in Delta State today. So it's look as if the question I want to ask maybe before we go to Lagos is: do you guys in Abuja, do you do any other things? Have you seen the another project from the FCT that maybe in terms of agriculture, tourism, because that we have the Zuma Rock, a lot of things that's happening in that Abuja area, and farming would have been a great thing, and they have a lot of minerals. Is it to the best of your knowledge that you can tell us that is happening in Abuja? FCT.
Okay. The truth is, for FCT, I would say they don't really farm here in FCT, but Abuja is just like in the middle. There are neighboring villages owned by the Baggy people. There's Baggy in Nasarawa State, and there's also Baggy in Niger State. And these two places I'm calling, Abuja is in the middle. The Niger State, which comprises of Lapai, Mina, Zungeru, different parts. You understand? When you leave Abuja before you get there, then Nasarawa State, when you're coming, you get to Nasarawa before Abuja. Why I'm saying this is that these are neighboring villages that are very close to Abuja. There are places that you must kind of either pass when you're going or when you're coming. So these places they farm a lot. In Nasarawa State, Masaka, which you know Masaka is close to Maraba, which is close to Abuja as well. They farm there. And that is why when you go to those
Yeah,
markets,
when I talk
yes,
of farm there,
if
sorry,
you say
to
FCT, if you say FCT,
yes.
they don't really farm because what they do here is sale of
I
land for real estate. That is
mean,
why they make everything expensive. All the lands there, they are developed for business or for people who want to do housing business. Like maybe you want to build houses for people to come and rent, or you want to
yes,
build for people
real
to come and
estate.
rent hotels and all. Yes, so the land there is strictly for business and not for farming. You can't tell me you want to buy land here in FCT and you say you want to farm. It's not even
No, no,
possible.
okay, but Mary, let's think about it. Do you people explore? We're gonna bring. Let's bring Lagos in so they can join the discussion. What my perhaps my interest is what now that you know that you guys have it's a glamorous state, it's a place. So there must be potential for tourism. I'm wondering if tourism is actually generating Abuja because everybody would like to visit the federal capital territory of Nigeria. Are you people receiving tourism? What are the statistics? Those are things that I'll be interested. Anyway, let me quickly bring in Lagos.
Okay, the thing is, um in Abuja, there are places that when you go to, you understand, you feel okay. Which there's something they call the Millennium Park here. You see that a lot of people that come into Abuja, they want to go there. But Harcourt has same thing, which their own is called Pleasure Park. In Abuja, we have the Jabi Lake as well. This okay for us that are here, it looks like it's a normal thing. But when people come inside,
All right. Let's quickly switch to Lagos. Lagos, Vivian, how are you doing?
Good morning, Sir Chris. How are you doing?
We say
How is
Lagos is the
London? Hope
center
it's not
of
too cold.
excellence. Lagos
It
is said to
is.
be the center of
It
excellence,
is.
right?
They- It is. It is. They are aiming to become a mega city. They are working hard to become that mega city in Africa.
hmm,
What we'll be looking at there, because though we'll be focusing on data today, my question, the same question I asked Mary is, what is it that Sanwo-Olu government is doing? I don't believe in private sector being able to raise the economy of Nigeria as it is. Whether even the private is doing, what is the government of Lagos State that you know is doing to to raise an alternative income for the state other than the federal government allocation? I think Lagos is doing great in that
The
department.
Lagos state government is doing a whole lot. If you visited Lagos before, yes, if you visited Lagos before, if you've lived in Lagos before, you will know that 10 years ago, 10 years back, the traffic, is out of this world. You don't want to be caught up in a Lagos traffic jam. But today, all of that has eased. We have more road networks, and the government is still building on that. But one interesting thing that the Lagos state government has done is to take advantage of the railway lines. And we have a red bus right now. It's flying the island, connecting you through Badagry all the way to Badagry as far as that axis. Now, what that means is that you can live there, you can be living there and you work in VI. In less than 1 hour, you're at work and you don't have to run through the hustle bustle of the town. And at the same time, as you're traveling, you're also getting the opportunity to see the various scenery of the city over the lagoon. You can also get to catch a glimpse of the Lagos Theatre. So it's really beautiful. And the red line too, that one is another one that gives you an opportunity. So one thing about Lagos transportation now is that you can decide to take a ride from the island to Ojo or towards Badagry, and you'll be having a lovely time, sightseeing, you know, taking a good view of the city.
Amazing. And that's what we'll be looking at. Because if you can imagine this development actually happening at the local level or the state level, perhaps the growth of Nigeria is clear. I mean, the governor of Lagos State came on our television here in the UK and professed that Lagos economy is the GDP of Lagos is higher than that of Kenya. That's something I took to heart, and I was really impressed. I'm wondering, where is Lagos generating all that money from? Yesterday, one of our topic was taxation. It's that Lagos is being effective when it comes to tax, the collecting of taxes, which is good. The question I ask is, other than taxation, maybe tourism is because Lagos benefits a lot from Nigeria because it's the center. You have the international airport there, the seaport is there, so they are built to succeed in a way. But my question again is, do we have the Lagos brand? Let me put it this way: they're made in Lagos. You understand? It's something that's what we're going to do today. Is there something like made in Delta, made in the FCT? Do we have made in Lagos as a project of the state government?
I would say we have made in Lagos. I would say we have made in Lagos, so because if it's happening in Nigeria, check well, it's coming out of Lagos, especially entertainment and the arts. It's all coming out of Lagos, and Lagos has its own vibe. It's a city that never sleeps. Lagos has the nightlife. When visitors come into Lagos, they want to drink all of it. They want to catch everything Lagos. And if you ask me, what is Lagos selling as a brand? Tourism.
Okay.
And they are working hard to deliver on that.
That. And that's a good one, because tourism can be a great. You see, when we talk about a productive state, must not be agriculture. You understand? Tourism, like I look at Abuja and I look at the Zuma Rock and I see the tourism potential in Abuja. What is, I will go back between two of you now, right now. Mary, you've heard now. What is the FCT, or what could you have seen, or what are the potential of tourism at the FCT? Is it being actually touched upon by the governor or by the administrator? We're talking of Wiki now. Is that his point of focus? Can you do you know how much Turkey makes from tourism? Turkey. You understand? If we now know that there's joy, there's enjoyment. I was in Abuja last and I saw this your park. I went there to eat fish.
And,
They took me out there. I'm not the type that go out at night.
which
Yes.
of the park?
I
Because
don't
we have,
know. They just took
if
me
it's, if
for
it's about
yeah.
tourism area in Abuja, they are uncountable. That's the truth. Depending on what you want.
Which is
Because you know that even the national mosques here, people that, let me say, they are Muslims or so, want to go there and see it. You understand? So there are a lot of places depending on what you want. The Zuma Rock, to me, is not a new thing for me, but at the quiz, people go to Zuma Rock, even our celebrities go there. It's like
no,
a
of
big
course.
deal for them.
I want to get to the Zuma Rock. I want to go
Okay,
there.
it's a normal, yes, it's a normal thing that's
And
because
if you go to Washington now, you see people climbing around the White House where the president stay. You understand? They're taking pictures. I've been to the White House. It's the Aso Rock. Our Aso Rock used to that. You see, we're talking of tourist attraction. This is where the president stays. This is where it's
I
coming
don't
from.
think
Those are tourist
I don't
attraction.
think I don't think there's any room for tourist attraction around that Morocco.
You see,
From
and that
the
is a loss of
entrance.
income. Loss of income.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think so. Not to my knowledge. Maybe there is, but not to my knowledge. Tourism
Even
in
your
Aso
Lagos,
Rock.
the Lagos State House, the last time I visited the Lagos State, is it in Alausa there? All the people I saw there were people protesting, but which is good. People come there to protest. They come there and that is the celebration. That is what people want to come and see. People celebrating, people protesting, people making demand, people celebrating. You understand? That is what the government has. It's a tourist attraction. Oh, listen, today I am at the Alausa where Saulu is. Tourist news. Other people want to come. If I come to Lagos, where are the places I should visit? Perhaps we need to visit the Ministry of Tourism in your area and see how much they are doing. We are only looking at tourism now. And we look, that is how much states can generate for the country. Go. You know?
There
And
are
that's
lots
how
of places to visit in
there are
Lagos.
lots of
But
places. There are, depending on your religion, though. That's just it.
before have
Okay,
you
continue.
been okay? So, Sir Chris,
yeah.
when next you come to Lagos,
Yeah.
I'm going to, and I hope you would have some quality time. I'm going to endeavor to take you around Lagos. You would see the Takwa Bay. You take a visit to some resorts along the beach front. You get to go to Ekpe. You will go to Lakapine Tropicana. Have you been to Lakapine Tropicana?
No, I'm not. It
No.
sounds it
You
sounds
should.
sexy.
It's a place to visit. It's a private owned tourist attraction. However, it has evolved. It's a place to visit. It's a place to be. But now
Amazing.
that we're talking about tourism attractions in various states in Nigeria, my mind readily runs to Plateau State. I've
Wonderful.
had the opportunity of attending Command Secondary School, Jos, Plateau State. And back then, there was Sherry Hills. We knew about Sherry Hills. It's a place to visit. And then you had the plateaus. And then have you heard of the Mambila Plateaus?
Wow. It's
Nine,
already sexy by ear, you know? Yeah.
Nigeria is beautiful. If you back then, I remember the eyes an 11-year-old, you know, visiting Sherry Hills. What I saw was lush green vegetation, beautiful, and the weather in Jos is like that of the UK. If you love a cool environment,
I don't like cold. I don't like
you
cold.
want
I've
it to
seen enough
stay
in my life.
all the time, you should stay
Enough of
in Jos. You
it.
should
I
stay
want to
in
come
Jos.
to Abuja sun.
When it
I like
rains in
Abuja
Jos,
breezy heat, you know?
when
That's
it
what I
rains
want
in Jos,
to
when it rains in Plateau State, in Jos in particular, we get
uh,
to see hailstones and we go out
wow.
into the rain and pack all of them, you know, into
Yeah.
cups and we want to eat them. It's very interesting. So there is a lot to see in Nigeria. So each state, actually, I remember the former DG, Director General of the Nigerian Culture, the NCAA, Culture and of Arts. I can't remember the full name
Yeah.
now,
Council of
but
Arts and Culture. Yeah.
he's Arts and Culture, yes, Nigerian Council of Arts and Culture. And Otumba Rushewe
Yeah, I
was
know. I
the
met him. I met him.
DG.
Yeah, yeah. I met him.
Yes, he succeeded in getting all 36 states to deliver a product. He was doing something like a one at a time strategy, and he got all the states to bring one product per state to the table. You'll be amazed. Some had events. Ekiti State, for instance, have you been to Ekiti State?
Can you
It
imagine?
is wow.
There's
I
nothing in
had the
Ekiti. What
opportunity
am
of
I looking for
attending
in
the
Ekiti?
university in Ekiti State.
Can you imagine?
Yes, yes. And sometimes you said
That- In fact, you
you
guys are
said what?
inspiring me because now I want to invite this state to Nigerian Week. Funny enough, sometimes countries like Turkey, they make the bulk of their money from tourism. Now they don't have what Nigeria have.
Nigeria has the capacity to do even much more.
And we go and our leaders they want to go on holiday, they go to these places, whether there's food in within. And you know, I don't know, we have beautiful women, we have beautiful food, and good food, healthy food. And look at these attractions you mentioned it. It's amazing. And I think we it's time. I think Calabar was trying to do that. You know, before I bring it, I saw Asaba just now, they disappeared. I hope when they come back.
Oh, that's another state to visit.
You know what?
Calabar.
The one you have not mentioned is Edo State. Edo. Funny enough, I can't wait to have Edo. Let's quickly have Asaba on the show right now. Asaba, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Now I have Asaba complete. I have Asaba complete today, and I have my two most powerful guests. I have known them. They are no stranger to this show. So we are ready to be rocked. You're all welcome to the show. Two of you able gentlemen.
Thank
I'm
you.
happy to have you today.
You're welcome, sirs.
So
Yeah, thank you very
I hope
much.
you can hear us. Yes. Because today we want to focus on Delta State. But I was just about to say something about some of the potentials of Nigeria. And they've been our lady here has been talking us through what is in Abuja. Vivian has told us the potential in Lagos and all that. But one state we didn't mention before we continue to change Nigeria is Edo State. Now I visited the British Museum here in London. There are about 2,000 artifacts there, 2,500. 2,000 is from Benin. That Edo, Benin people. The artifacts you see at the British
That's
Museum,
so
that
sad.
in the African section, they are all from Benin. And if you see the amazing work these people
So
did
sad.
back then,
So sad.
it's amazing. And so when I researched it, I did a documentary on it. I found out that in those days, if there is an event, the Oba will commission his bronzemen to cast it. So there were history of activities that has happened in the kingdom. Amazing stuff. We still have some of them at the British Museum. Apparently, they are not going back to Nigeria. That will be a topic for another day. But today, let's look at Delta State. We have these two able gentlemen. We want to focus on you guys today. Delta State is a mini Nigeria, from what I've been saying, and I've been crying for it. And I'm happy we're all from the same state. And I am wondering if we have really been able to tap on our potentials. Delta State is lucky to have oil, so we're getting a lot of allocation from the federal government. But I want us to think outside that today. What are the things that we can do in Delta State to make us great? Supposing Delta State is a country, what are the things you people think we should be doing in Delta State? And the question is, are we doing it? I will leave that to Delta for now.
Please start first.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
The one would start by saying that the greatest export that Delta has to offer the world is, especially in this time and circumstances where in Nigeria that becomes very rare, a very scarce commodity. The peace in Delta is predictable, and because there is that fundamental of peace, then of course the development has also been sustainable. So that basically is it. And yeah, thank you very much. You described Delta as a mini Nigeria, and that is true. A miniature Nigeria, a microcosm of Nigeria. In the terms, especially as to with the ethnic configuration, the ethnic configuration, and we have had an example. Delta has had an example to Nigeria and the world of how people of heterogeneous, diverse ethnic leanings and backgrounds can forge together and in the process come up with one formidable political entity. It's been wonderful, especially since the advent of democracy, how power has been rotating among the senatorial zones. We have north, we have central, we have south, and it's predictable where it will go next. And this is something that we think if Nigeria has this form of inclusive nature, then there won't be part of the country that is asking for secession. There won't be part of the country that is saying, oh, we have been marginalized and all that. So Delta has got peace to give to Nigeria. Delta has got political stability to give to Nigeria. And so it is also not surprising that in terms of education, I stand to be corrected. Delta has the highest number of state-run universities because it's usually called an educationally advantaged state. And so we also have that as an export to give. In terms of tourism attraction, you find out that there is no local government in that doesn't have educated and developed tourist attraction. In terms of food productivity, agriculture, Delta has all the potentials to be the food basket of Nigeria. And I think that has been done to a great extent, the infrastructure. But my colleague is here and he will take it up from that.
Yes.
Thank you very
So,
much.
yes.
Interesting.
Go on, sir. Because I wanted to know if see Delta State
interestingly,
yes, address Delta State as a country today. Because now we tend to, the population of Delta State is more than that of Benin Republic or Togo or the like. So we are qualified, we are big enough, we have all the resources to be a country. So when you look at this, look at us as a nation. So you know what I see in Nigeria? We are a united nation, or united nation of nations. Nigeria is having nations. The nations, Delta is one, Edo is one, like that. So let's treat our own today as Delta, a nation, Delta. What are we doing? You understand? And he has
Well,
applied some, and I will let you.
interestingly, interestingly, okay, thank you very much. Interestingly, the facts need to be laid bare if we must get to the trajectory of poverty emancipation in Delta State. Yes, in as much as there's a little bit of security, I would say security is not total, it's relative in Delta State, because there are still sprinkles of kidnappings, staged kidnappings, real kidnappings, invasion of farmlands. In fact, in the last 48 hours, we've had, last 72 hours, we've had invasions of farmlands. In Isabel, there was a kidnap from somebody's farm, there was a kidnap equally in Oguashuku, and all that. But I must appreciate the efficiency of the security architecture of Delta State, which has been very proactive in assessing, evaluating, and reacting to security breaches. Now, like you made, the context you made is addressing Delta State like a miniature country. The same issues that we face in Nigeria are equally being faced in Delta State. If, like I've always told them, if you can govern Delta State, you can govern Nigeria because of the multilingual nature of Delta State. And in the same spectra, we are equally faced with cultural dichotomy, which limits growth and progress. My colleague here, Ubaka, made reference to the importance and relevance of education. But I want to ask a salient question. Of what relevance is it for us to continue to create higher institutions and we don't create industries where the graduates are going to be working? It's totally irrelevant. Delta State should be a state that can be at par with industrialized states, industrialized nations in the world. Where is the Delta Steel Company today? Delta Steel Company, there was a time, I grew up in Warri, I tell you, Federal College, Mina. I had the opportunity to have traveled. I listened to my sister that attended command. I've been to Sherry Hills, I've been to Naraguta. We played up federal schools games in Jos. I knew the tranquility and the peace that we had in the north before the invasion of Metaseni in the early 80s. And besides all that, the politicization of our democratic structure have altered the nature of governance in this country. Now, look at Delta State. We have industries that have been allowed to die a natural death because everybody has taken politics as a career. When you politicize, when you politicize democracy, you make it as a career. The urge for the government to create jobs become limited. Everybody wants to become an SA and SSA and all that. And the only way we are facing or we're able to face governance for the people is to project, bring an agenda that is not realistic. The government is trying, I will come to, but I'm looking at the weaknesses that we are faced as a democratic entity.
Yes.
Now, if we must get a poverty emancipation, what happened to Delta Steel Company? What happened to Delta Glass Company? These are companies. What happened to Asaba Textile Mill? What happened to Summit Furniture? These are companies that had people that were working on shifts, morning shift, afternoon shift, and evening shift. You are taking almost 10,000 people away from the labor market. But you see graduate master degree holders all riding keke. So the essence of creating universities, polytechnics is totally it's totally of no value when there are no jobs for these people after school. Now,
Asaba, don't do this. Don't do this to us. Don't do this to us. Anyway, that is a great one. You can hear. We're gonna have it back. Don't go away. Asaba is still with us, and I'm going to keep it blank until they come back alive. You know, what is amazing is, which is the most important issue I want us to look at today, is seeing the potential of each of the states as we're going to move on, using Delta as a point of contact, and imagine what Nigeria could be. Now, he's telling us what is possible in Delta. Supposing that become a focus, you guys told me already what is possible in Lagos. Supposing that is actually being touched upon, and 30% of it alone is realized. Let me have Asaba back quickly. And welcome back, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, like I was saying.
Yes,
now
sir.
we're looking at food security, because the truth, we have so much dependent on oil. I grew up in the oil boom. We're so much dependent on oil. Regulating the food revolution of the 50s and 60s that created a sense of belonging for the 6 different regions. In the northwest region, we have the granite pyramids. North central, northeast, we had the curtains, we had a lot of stalagmites and what have you. We had kola nuts and all that in the southwest, cocoa. We had coal in the southeast. Those were the times where regional government had strength. But the government at the center have weakened the regional government and transformed state governments created by Murtala Mohammed and transformed to the 36 states we have today. And Delta State cannot be set aside. Now I'm focusing on Delta State. Now for food security, there's no way we can be able to have food security without security of lives and property, and that is relative. Because the government has popularized the people, and the popularization of the people, now unrobbery has reduced. What is now is kidnapping, because it is the easiest way. And I don't know how proactive and how the government is towards nipping it in the bud. You kidnap somebody that has not even eaten. They are asking the family to look for 10 million. From 100 million, they plan it to 10 million. So you carry POS, you carry your ATM, you bring. I mean, what a country. It is the bad leadership that created bad followership. Now, Delta State has vast mass. Look at Delta North here. We have vast land mass, arable land mass for agriculture. But you go to the village, everyone wants to come to the city. They want to be SA, they want to be SSA, they want to be PS to politician. A driver wants to call himself honorable. How dishonorable is that word?
They are horrible. They are horrible.
I don't know. To go and buy for they use siren to disturb us. This big man travel to the UK. Is it happening like that? Now look at the food scale. Look at the whole of Delta North now. We are the major producers of cassava and all that, yams. But people cannot access their farms because of insecurity. We have seen what happened in Abago. I had a friend whose father was killed in the farm. We have seen what happening in so many areas in Delta North. Even the Ablata presently is being turned into a kidnapping den. But the Delta State Police Command and the DSS are working. I have a personal relationship. They come on some of our programs, and I have been able to evaluate their competence. But moving forward, until we check these things, the major issues, we check the underlying issues. The society is the product of the political class, right? And the society we have today, both in Delta and in Nigeria, is a creation of the political elite who have turned the citizens to pawns on the political chessboard, where they manipulate them, they pauperize them, they use poverty as a weapon. And the people are so gullible that anything they are told at such a time of their needs, when they leave their votes, they buy it. Look at the mockery. Now, Delta States, now we can get emancipation through security first. We have to improve so that people can go back to the farms. Improve in infrastructure, that I will give it to the government. I wasn't telling you a lie. Of all governments that we've had since the inception of this state, Ibori, Uduaga, Okowa, and now Sheriff, this government is the best government in terms of project evaluation, in terms of project assessment, in terms of infrastructure. I'm talking of you cannot be doing a drainage and think it's the status quo is the same. You cannot be doing a road and think the status quo. It comes there personally. I'm an engineer. I know the standard procedures when you are doing a road or when you are doing a drainage. A lot of us have politicized relationships and politicized competence on the threshold of relationship to do mediocre roles. I've seen a role in this Asaba that was given to one person in the last government, and they subletted it. The right journalist was given to one contractor, the other left journalist was given to another contractor, and the road was shared by almost 4 contractors. And you know, they use outside boys at times in the night, throw quota and use rollers. And what a country! People must be held accountable. It is not just a Delta State issue, it's a national issue. All the 36 states, we are seeing things like this. But Delta State needs to understand something. We are the richest state in terms of human resources. After Akwa Ibom or so, we are the second richest state in terms of park allocation. And it is out of place that in the majority of our industries have been left comatose. Majority of our industries have been thrown to the dogs. If they can resuscitate Delta Steel Company, if they can resuscitate Ugeli Glass Company, if they can resuscitate Sabatestemi, if they can resuscitate, there is a shoe factory in Selukuye. Because of politics, a leather factory, one of the big, if an Igbo man sees that leather factory, an Aba man, I was privileged to go there with my friends. My dear, it is the best shoe factory in West Africa I have seen. But the equipment, it has a clinic, very big. If you are going to Seluku now from Asaba, before Seluku is on your left. But because of politics, greed and avarice, selfish intentions of our politicians, they allowed it to remain there. They were never, that place would have taken 10,000, between 5 and 10,000 people away from the streets. They had restaurants. But we have a leadership that we have politicized, and there's no continuity in governance. Everybody comes with his own agenda. We lack political ideology. Delta State can become Dubai. In 1992, Dubai was a desert. But it was the transformation of mindset that took it to where we go today, and we all rush them on vacations. I am weeping in my heart because leadership has failed followership, and followership has not copied leadership, and that is the trajectory of failure that we are in this country. And that is why it is difficult to nip this security, to nip so many things in the bud. But everybody, we need to be focused and confront it head on. Status quo must change.
Yes.
Transformational leaders are the kind of people that we need. Thank you.
Thank you so much. In fact, I know Vivian, we have 1 or 2 questions, and so will many. But the thing I really want us to focus, because I want to drive the movement, it's a big one. Let us imagine the potentials they've been outlined in Delta State. If Delta begin to tap on or begin to realize their potential, Edo realize their potential, Lagos realize their potential, if it is 30%, the national problem would have been solved. He made mention of something that is interesting. I know there's this agitation that we want to go back to the senatorial district or this and that. No, I think the 36 state is actually a blessing. Because the reason I say that is that there's no single state that is still not rich enough. That is not richer than Benin Republic. There's no state in Nigeria. The poorest state in Nigeria is richer than Benin Republic.
That's true.
So we are 36 countries. But because, maybe that's the question I really want to throw to everybody here. Are we at the state thinking they are children? Because when an old man doesn't have money, he thinks he's a child. When a man has money, he thinks like I'm a father now. But when you don't have money, you always behave like a child. Is it because we think, I don't understand where the mentality is that until money comes from Abuja, Delta State will not make their money.
That question was long answered by Ike Kuremadu at some point. There was a lecture before his travail. There was a lecture he gave in Abuja. And from his legal background, he described Nigeria's federation as a feeding bottle kind of federation. And he was actually explaining that.
I like that.
Feeding bottle kind of federation, where you creativity, revenue generation. Yesterday you were battling with issues of taxation and all that. Issues of revenue generation is played down because you expect that within the month Abuja will come and everybody will go there, every state will go there, the finance
Yes.
commissioners, cap in hand, to get what has been centrally pulled together. And close to 98% of what is being shared from in Abuja is sourced from the south, Niger Delta, from crude oil, because we have maintained a monolithic kind of revenue generation culture, which is a tragedy. Meanwhile, there are parts of the country where the solid minerals are still being mined, being explored, and unaccounted for. And because there is hope that monthly something will come from far, there is nobody that wants to, there are no states that want to see how they can develop their potentials in terms of cocoa. My colleague has talked about what happened when the operas of this world made something great out of oil in the southeast, and when the pyramid, the granite pyramid, yes, the granite pyramid may never come back, because we do not expect that you'll be producing and piling up until you get it. We have to get into the agro processing age, where you process that into pomade, you process that into oil and all that. So we may never get to see the return of granite pyramid, because the society is evolving, and from agriculture we should get to agro-industrial technology that will be able to at least engage our children that we are training in school right away. But for as long as states have this expectation that they will get to Abuja, and through fact they will get revenue, with which they will go and pay their staff, and do one or two implementations, then we will not get back to the era where the likes of Obafemi Awolowo had to build the Western television in the 50s from revenue generated from the southwest. We might never get to that point,
Yes.
Because government now is not a creative government.
Oh.
We are not thinking. We are not thinking, not to talk of even thinking outside the box. Why? Because there will be revenue that will come from oil. It will be shared among the 36 states, and that can take us to, or we go and borrow in anticipation that when the next revenue comes from far, that is dangerous. It's antithetical to development. It's antithetical to development until we radically think outside that sentence. Then the states, we might have states that are full of potential, but lacking in actualization of development. Yes, it's well said that Delta has more potential than Benin Republic. Delta has ports that have not been developed.
Exactly.
The cocoa port is there. The sapling port is there. It's just this government of Sheriff Oborowore that is trying to bring back the glory days of Warri. I traveled to Warri recently, and I saw the bridges coming up. Julius Berger.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring the bridges back. I try to see a Warri that is coming back. Otherwise, before now, we saw a situation where potentials are just idle, are just dormant. The ports are undeveloped. We could receive ship, international ship, have them based in Delta here.
Yes.
And of course, that will add meaningfully to the economy. But as long as we have infrastructure that we cannot develop, and everybody is depending on the Apapa Wharf, that's the port in Lagos, and between Lagos and Asaba, then going over to the east, the road is over-labored, and the trailers are battering it on each day. Then you have infrastructure dilapidation at each point in time. But I must give it to Delta. Somebody will ask myself and my colleague here in Asaba, are we seeing the same Delta? Oh yes, we are seeing the same Delta. But you are permitted to see the cup either half full or half empty. You understand? I'm seeing the cup half full because I am seeing things that are already happening that could get us better. We are talking of the Delta is a subset. And there are a whole number of things that are happening in Abuja that will limit the performance in Delta. If you have resource control in place, for goodness sake, and have Delta harness its resources and pay royalties to the center the way it should be, then of course you will see things happening. As for the resuscitation of the industries in order to create jobs, yes, but environment is being created for private sector initiative to drive our industrialization. Because in the resetting, government has no business being in business. But that does not say that we can't understand the fact of having our children trained in school and having them trained in the way they can set up industries and having us win from the public power supply to IPP in order that we can have energy, power to drive the private sector. And when you have policies that can attract investment, then of course you see that there's an economy, though within the entire ambience of the Nigerian setting, can be predictable, can be, yes, insecurity, oh yes. But some of this insecurity, where we are located from, where we are talking now in Asab, is just by the bank of the river.
Just to cut in.
It's just by the bank of the river Niger. And no matter how you try to make Delta fortified in terms of security, or you see a situation where some of these security situations we have been experiencing are imported. Permit me use that word. Because from the river Niger, people can come in and do things that can bring about some upheaval. Thank you so very much.
All right. Lydia, you were about to say something.
Yes, I was about to say something. As you were talking about Delta State, I began to, the state that readily came to mind is Cross River State. And I think there are some states that are beginning to create products around their tourism tourist sites, their cultural events. In Ondo State, for instance, there is Mari Festival. Mr. Akimboboye, the CEO of La Campagne Tropicana, he has also come up with another festival called Irapada or Ikpada. Then in River State, Cross River State, they have maintained the Calabar Carnival brand over the years. Ekiti State have also come up with something that has to do with beans. I can't remember. Then there's another state that is doing the Twin Festival. Why has Delta State not come up with a product that will bring people to Warri or to Asaba? I saw Ethiopia. I did some research and I saw the Ethiopia River. I've never been there, but I want to believe it's a site.
That's my village.
Yes. So why every state in Nigeria should have an event that sells that state? So towards the end of the year, we should be hearing Benue. Oh, there's this event in Benue. There's this other event in Kanu. By the way, Sokoto has its own festival, the fishing festival. There's a name, it's tagged. Then there is the Durban Festival. So there is so much. Why does Delta State not have a festival that brings people into the state?
Thank you, Vivian, for that. But I see what before we focus on the tourism, I want to follow up on everything you have said. I overheard somebody said government cannot participate in business. We need to address that at some point on this show today. And number two, we need to answer the major question, which is what our communicator mentioned here. If Delta State, say at the end of this month, money is not coming from Abuja, will Delta State not sit up and begin to think how it's going to make money? So is this all a curse or a blessing? Because this is the thing we must think about. if you now, some people in the UK, because they give them peanuts to eat, they remain in poverty. If you're not working, they'll give you money to eat. That means you will be a poor person, because if you go to work, you earn good money, you have a great life. Of course, not working, it's not as if you will not get money to eat, but you are poor. Perhaps the bottle federation is a problem to Delta State. For instance, now, Oboriwori, I know you're telling me now, the question I'm going to ask Delta is, you have been able to outline the successes, the good thing this government is doing. The question I ask is, how much has he made? So, because he collect money from Abuja and spend it, that's why he's performing. Is that the litmus test of good governance? Because everybody has been praising Oboriwori. My question today is, what has Oboriwori done that is bringing a penny to the state?
Now, thank you very much. My assertions were basically based on the performance in infrastructural development from the Bore administration through the Dwagan administration, Okowa administration, and the present administration. Because we have a tendency of building roads that do not validate over one rainy season. That's basically 6 months and all that. But we're seeing a government. I'm bringing his weaknesses. I said I was going to. I fear no one, because I speak the facts. Now, he comes out to evaluate contractors on site. We never had a governor that does that. And 3 senatorial districts are being inundated with infrastructure development. That is one. And secondly, he has not borrowed money. He has not borrowed money like the other governments. Yes. He hasn't borrowed a dime from the ADP, from the United, from World Bank, from anywhere. He has not borrowed a dime. He has lived within. That means everything that we're borrowing, we're using it for something contrary to governance. That is one. Then we're looking at a leader, in as much as he has his faults, but he has a relationship with the people who have his faults. Public servants, most are not happy with him. Most are not happy with him because we believed that Delta State could have been able to pay far more than 70,000 minimum wage, which I believe is achievable. But we didn't do that. How can you pay an essay that has a school start, for example, about 250,000, then a graduate that's a graduate about 100 something? That it doesn't make sense. That is why people don't even look at the quality of political leadership that we have in Delta State. Some of them cannot communicate. Everybody can talk, but everybody can communicate. Some of them cannot communicate. They have to be competence-based appointments. We lack that. Competence-based appointments. You will not appoint because you help me rig the election or you help me work during the election. No. And until we become detribalized, now it will be difficult. There are issues. Let us say Delta is a miniature Nigeria. The issues of ethnic affiliation and all that comes into play in most things, and it reduces the capacity for competence, for people with content and competence to come into power. Let me go to my sister in Lagos. She made reference to landmark festivals or what have you that can attract tourism. Tourism is achievable in a society where there is security and peace. For any society to attract and where there is clean environment, I may go to say Calabar and Uyo are two of the cleanest cities in the world. Cleanliness is next to godliness, they say. You need to start by assuring the people. Last 2 years, my friend Sami Fijoku and his team, they projected to a carnival, 25 days to Christmas. I've forgotten the name they called it. But you see, it is not just for you to bet an idea. What do you do? When a woman conceives, you nurture, you go for antenatal, you delivery. And that is what an idea is all about. When you bet an idea, you must partner with the private sector. You must partner with government. You must partner with organizations that can bring that. The Calabar Festival, it's not just about Calabar alone. It's a business innovation where millions of dollars are made. All the hotels in Calabar are booked. All the hotels in the satellite towns are booked. A month before, there was a time I went to the Calabar, by December, by November 20 something, they said all the hotels were booked.
Yes.
Even apartments were all booked. So you need to improve the standard of your hotels. Those are things that can attract tourism besides security. Now, for that, it's doable here. But you see, when the issue we have in Delta State, if, for example, you want to do something like that in Asaba, those in positions of authority, for example, maybe in the Ministry of Culture and Tourism, who are supposed to maybe facilitate something related to that, because they are doing it in Asaba and not in Warri or Ughelli, there will be administrative bottleneck towards the actualization. It happened.
Stupidity.
So you can understand. Now,
Yes.
we have the college too. It's still actually just that
I
I think we need to be on the group.
I've heard
We
of
have the
Okereji.
college.
I have heard
You
of
said?
it. I was born in Warri, Delta State. I was born in Warri. So
Okay, we
growing
have a
up, I
college
heard
too.
of
It attracts a lot of people. Then we have
Then there's this
Juju.
Ishekiri program. Agbasa, I've heard of Agbasa too. There is this Ishekiri one.
Those are
That
tourist
they can
towns.
see them
Indigenous
from the
towns. But there's not been enough
What do they call
publicity to get it to the level of Calabar Carnival. These are under, sir, you made reference about governments going cap in hand to Abuja. That if we had reduced our dependence, I want to take you somewhere to tell you where the problem is. If we had reduced our dependence on federal allocation, or the government has stopped giving allocation, most states would have sat up. Now let me tell you where the problem is. In a lot of these governments, not just Delta State government, because of political affinity. This one work for me, and this person wants the election. We need to give them. They now create task forces. Task force for revenue, task force for one thing or the other. These task forces, they were created to help government facilitate collection of revenue. But 99.9% of these task forces collect revenue to their personal pockets. So there is revenue leakage. Until those revenue leakages are blocked, IGRO for most of the states in Nigeria cannot take them anywhere. We have seen where traffic offenders are here. They tell them bring 50,000. You negotiate with them. How much you get? They take 20. I asked one, give him a receipt.
Yes.
They say you can't go up today, Sunday, you can't go and pay in the bank. Even on Mondays, you do it. Why are you telling that? There's some of them that are caught for traffic violation or revenue violation. They say they're checking license. Have you renewed your license has expired, the paper has expired? Okay, you are booked. You are booked, but the money is paid cash to you. So government needs to, these are things that there's a ministry that is supposed to have the responsibility to do all that, but they took it from there and gave it to towns. So how do we get, that's why the dependence, there is nowhere in the majority of this state. I'm speaking of Delta State now, for example, the majority of 36 states are culpable where IGRO gets to the government coffers, as it were. If it gets to the government coffers, only except Lagos or maybe Abuja, if it gets to the government coffers, majority of these states would be twice richer. Majority of these states will be able to pay a minimum wage of 150,000.
Thank you.
I stand to be corrected.
And that is what we discussed yesterday. A government, yes. Go on, sir. A government that cannot generate money from tax. Yes. A government that will not generate money from tax, they will not be able to make their own money. Now, I think the situation in Rivers taught us some lesson. The federal government was able to say, I will not release money to Rivers. Rivers is a separate state. It's an independent state. If Rivers were making their own money, it would have stopped the River State government from performing. They would have been able to go about their duty, but once the Abuja pull up the plug, you are dead. No oxygen in any of the states. And the question is, this is where I really want us to focus this discussion, using Delta State as a case study. If Delta State, can we make money as a people? Let's forget Nigeria. Do we have the potential to make money? Let us not, if that is the case, let us not begin to praise infrastructure. And I want to, before I leave this matter again, before I leave it for you people tell me that government does have hand in business. Let me correct this. In countries where government don't have hands in business, there is room for private people to access finance. In Nigeria, to get a loan is 33% is suicidal. Which business are you going to do with 33% that is going to bring you money? Come to UK, it is driven by the private sector, private people, because they can access finance. And not everybody, but if you have good credit rating, you will get money and at a good rate. Are you going to do that in Nigeria? Who's going to give you a loan? So what kind of farming are we telling our farmers to go and do? To go to the village, my grandmother to carry her hose and go to the farm? That's when government take their hands out of critical sectors. It's a crime. And you sit down there, you don't, like engineer just said something. If all the money internally generated, the IGR, goes to the coffers of our state, Nigeria will not be where we are now. That is why we live in a country where the rich are getting richer from where? These are money collected from us. A policeman is a government of his own. It's a government. He collects the money, it goes to his pocket. Tomorrow is crying. You're collecting money that belongs to everybody. If you give a policeman 2 naira instead of 10 naira that's supposed to be federal government, you are losing. We need to understand that a collective success is what we're looking at. But let's look at Delta State. Before we condemn or praise Oboriwori, let's be sincere here. What is Oboriwori planning, or what the government is planning? Because I saw many good things already. What is he planning to raise money for us? Supposing we don't have Abuja, cancel Abuja from our book. Are we not big enough to feed ourselves? Be it tourism, you guys mentioned, be it agriculture, even if it is sport, education, we can make money from my belief. Is this government doing it? How long are we going to continue to live on this feed the bottle federation, as a communicator taught us? You understand? This feed the bottle, where money comes from Abuja, we suck. When it is finished, you wait my mama to feed the bottle. You bring it, you suck. You put it for mama to put the bottle. What kind of country is that? Who is that person a governor? I'm asking our governors, and let us be, perhaps we're using Delta as a case study. You are not guys are not real. And I look at, you know what's so painful, sir? Let me give you a quick state of Edo State. When I came from Belgium back then, I had this set of people who came with me to Nigeria. They were interested in wanting wood. There's a particular wood in Edo State, which I was then bringing to sell in Belgium. In fact, by the time my plane land, they will be there to pick me up because I was bringing the wood for them. It's called yellow apple. They use it for window frame. It's in Benin. How many, as the government of Edo State, even tap on that potential? I, as an individual, was able to bring and sell, and I was treated well. Imagine if Edo State begin to even grow those wood and begin to export it. Is Edo State making money? The answer is no. They're waiting for federal government every month end to collect that peanut. The Oba of Benin is a history into the rest of the world. In fact, when I was writing my own book, I said cinema started in Benin. Does people even know the potential? You can even, from tourism potential to Benin alone, to the Benin city, to the Edo Kingdom. What are we doing as a people? We can continue to praise infrastructure government. But when we do that, maybe we are doing something, we are shortchanging ourselves. And that's the reason I say let's use this as a point of contact I really don't have love for anybody that will say, oh, this man is performing. If you go to, yes, so Boriwa have not borrow money. Is that success? The money of Boriwa is spending, where is it coming from? Supposing all your money come block tomorrow, where we go see money spent? Which mama or papa go their house? Big better pitching and what would they? Which mama or papa go their house when they not gonna make money in the chop? For where? And perhaps if we don't, I'm not now it's like we're attacking data. No, it's equal across the 36 states. But the painful thing is the federal government would have still be irrelevant because what they are getting from oil is too small. Only Delta State can make close to 100 billion a month in a year. Holland is not as big as Delta State. Delta State is bigger than Holland. They make 100 billion, 150 billion from a Greek export. Only Holland. Now God, not the same God when creators create them. And is the God that created Holland different from the God that created me? So are you saying that we cannot be? My papa said that they will imitate success. Can't we imitate what they're doing in Israel? If you see one onion in Israel, it's like this. Will they go there, go wash it? I know Vivian go verse now. Onions in Israel is like this. We cannot produce one. And will they worship? No, let's leave that one. But my question is this, people. This is serious. How can we be happy with somebody spending money? I said I didn't borrow money. Is that your work? Is that your job? Is that why you were elected governor? Or you were elected to grow the economy of your people, improve the life of people? How are you going to improve my life? By giving me road? Which car am I going to drive on the road? You give me education. A young man said, we know jobs. Now, there will be jobs if the government is actually engaged. Now, this is the confusion. You train people, sir. So they are not qualified, meaning they can be useful. You have all the resources to make the people to work and bring you money. You said, no, it's not your job to engage people. Private sector should come and engage these people. The private sector don't have the money. Because as far as I know, if you borrow money and you are paying 33%, are you a thief? How do you pay that kind of loan back? So perhaps that is the question I'm asking today. Let us look at Delta State. Since the man became governor, now my brother from my place, so it's not as if I hate him. The question is, if we can address this well, perhaps the other governors will be thinking. Say, look at people are beginning to ask difficult questions. Since you came to office, sir, what have you raised for your state? If they open book now, if Abuja block, can't you survive as a person? If in the bottle, suppose they cut out, food not come they enter. You know if you look for food, put for your own. If na water safe, you know go first start with water before you look for Gary add joiner. That's my question today, sir.
Well, I think the question is a timely one, and it boils out from the concern of how we can develop our internal potentials in order that we can move our states forward. Yes, the focus could be on Delta, but I think whatever obtains in Delta, largely too, is applicable to the other statistics. I love your expression of not just statistics, but 36 nations. But we will be over expecting, or we need to manage our expectation with respect to what are we expecting these 36 nations to achieve when we have a federal system that is sitting on its head.
Before you continue, sir, communicator, let's think simple. Forget the federal system. I want to follow here. Does it stop you from growing your own economy? The question is how. Because
it has ways of stopping. Can I tell you how?
Okay.
If the oil in Delta is allowed to be exploited by Delta State,
yes,
the royalties that the oil companies are paying in Delta, they are paying it to the federal government. The oil
Yes.
blocks, the licenses are given by the federal government. So you have resources in Delta that Delta is not in control of.
Other than oil, sir,
And
other than oil,
that is
I
our
know, the
problem.
federal government, yes, sir. I hear that. We're going back to one thing now, the monolithic economy. Supposing we forget, say, okay, federal government is rough, they are raping us, they are taking our oil. Don't we have other potentials? That's my area. Because if we think to oil, we will be angry. We hate to be in Nigeria. If you think of oil,
Yes, even
the
the
only
other
country they kill it.
areas, even the other areas, we are by the river bank here, River Niger.
Yes. Yes.
There is a limit to what you can do by the River Niger. Because the control of the river is even under the federal government, including issues of land use act. So we have a whole lot of restructuring to do before we can say, my brother, the state government, I'm holding you fully accountable. We are talking of the development of the seaports. Oh yes, we expect that should be done. We are talking of improving the internally generated revenue. Yes, we are talking about improving the educational. But what a number of states are doing, and Delta is not completely isolated from it, is that they try to run governments that are more of social service driven. We are in a Delta state where a pregnant woman walks to that's a specialist hospital, and will deliver and will not need to pay anything because it is the health policy of the state. This health policy is being explored by people in the neighboring states, from Anambra, from Edo to Abo end. People get pregnant there and come into Delta to deliver. Because delivery is free and 0 to 5 years of children who are 0 to 5, you take care of them. This is a policy. It is costing the government so much. In Delta State,
they're going to America to give birth. That's a good one. But anyway, okay, sir. You see, maybe we can use that because when people know you have certain things, they drive people to your economy. Let's say we are now offering a service that is now this is a disadvantage now. Supposing we are doing something that is attracting people to us, come and spend your money here. So now if we are treating people well, supposing we are good, if our hospital are the best, I'm sure instead of going to India, you want to go to Delta State.
Yes.
So
yes.
You see the disadvantage. Let's look at it. Let's play the advantage. Supposing we now say a government say, okay, I'm a medical doctor. Okowa with us with Alodua with their medical experience, they could not even make a health and economy driven sector for us. Only health. You know how much Nigerians spend to India? No, I'm not talking to UK. India. Now 20 head now India people get. Their head are 20, our own come is small. So this is where I am talking from. I understand our concern. All the time when I talk about this, I hear this oil sector argument. Even I hear the one of the seaports, what we cannot do. But I'm very sure that if we now say, okay, look at what the federal government are doing, no, I'm going to pass back. I'm going to use what I have. Because other than those two things, which to be fair to the federal government, they still give us our little share. And if you are strong, then you can actually ask the federal government. Do you know that none of these governors, none of our governors, other than Ibori ones, have been able to go to federal and say, we want more. You are taking all this money from us. Give us more. I never hear that. The one Ibori did landed him in prison. Though he has the skeleton in his cupboard, but as they ask for, oh yeah, Obasanjo just say, my hand will touch you this one. He was the number one enemy of the federation. We know that. But when you live in that kind of society, you still find your way. Oboriwori is none of them. And I'm saying Oboriwori, I never even mentioned federal government allocation, say not rich. We never hear them. Now we are saying it here. I never hear. In those days, the South governors were having their own block meeting led by Ibori. They will go to federal and say, this thing you are doing is not fair. Give us our share. That's how the money managed to get to 25%. In fact, they gave them 19 and then 13. You see, that's all. The agitation must continue. Because the Northerners, they believe this Nigeria is their birthright. We come to that
Yes.
country, and they are actually shortchanging themselves too. Because if they imagine what they can get from their own state, they won't even bother about oil.
We stop putting their eyes in River State and other places.
You know how much a Greek alone, Niger State. Oh God, if Niger State farm, they will feed the whole of Africa.
What about Kano State? Rice, leather.
And we import rice. As a country, we still import rice. Look at during the governorship election in Delta State. I'm sorry, I was opportune to interview all of them, except our governor now and I met Agege, and I was trying to hear from every one of them. You know, Baggy was telling me that he said, I will just, the land in Isoko, I will just turn it to where I make my rice, and I don't have any business with the federal government. Somebody that can think like that, I was just happy. First, you have to conceive it. None of them don't even have it. First, you have to conceive it. Okay, if somebody will say, no, I don't give a damn now. I don't even care whether Nigeria exists. This is my state. And I'm going to govern my state. And my state is a country. Because we have the potential to be a country. We have the population. We have the human resources. And thank God, small oil money they come. Instead of using this money to construct road, why don't invest it on things that will bring more money? Now, you see the politicization that is an enemy. Somebody's going to tell me now, what is becoming a new place? For what? Bridges? Is that what Waripo need? Grow the warrior economy. Bridge will come. How can you start from the top? If there's money made in Warri, you'll be surprised. The road will just begin to multiply. How can you start with road? People don't have the money to even buy the cars. Then it's armed robbery that we're going to get. Because all we see is flashy things. Underneath it, there's nothing. So every little young man is trying to make it fast. Yahoo is the order of the day. If you not do Yahoo, you go kidnap. And we cannot, and we talk of crime. I think sometimes when they tell me that there's crime in Nigeria, they look at it as if it's religious driven and this. No, it's hunger driven and class driven. By the time the only way you live is when you are in government and you make a lot of money when you are in government. A fool of yesterday, village fool yesterday, the time the day he enter office, look at his life. A village fool, we know this a village fool. You just get into local government chairman, the thing don't change. Where you get money? Why would I want to go and work if I just not become local government chairman and change my life? So even those of us in the UK, when they come here, instead of telling them the truth, I'm so angry with some of them. You still can't tell this man the truth. The money you will eat today and the one of your children will come. If Nigeria fail, our children fail. We are talking now, our time will come and go. So we don't even care about the generation we're leaving behind. Because when we eat, everyone is going to spend money on bridges. Where is the bridge? How long is that bridge going to stay? If you don't maintain the bridge, what's going to happen? Where is the money to maintain the bridge? You're working on a project that you know tomorrow you cannot maintain it. Because you're not making money. How can somebody who's not making money be able to maintain anything? What is this now? Sorry, guys.
Engineer is speaking.
Yes. Engineer, I can't hear you. What? You know the person calling me is from one strange country.
I think his sound is down.
Sound, I think yeah, maybe the people is calling. They try to call the show because they see the number of the show. Let me up it. We are not allowing phone call in today. Engineer, your sound is down in Asaba. Asaba, control your sound. Yes. So,
Yeah, the person there should check their sound. The person controlling it should control the sound.
Yeah, we cannot hear you. Yes. So, like
The
we were
voice is
saying,
not coming out at all.
no, I said today, let us challenge ourselves that we are blessed. We have 37 countries. in Nigeria.
37 states, you meant to
No,
say.
no countries. When you say state, it limits them. It makes them think they are babies.
Okay.
All of us have the potential of, we are bigger than the Republic. We are bigger than Togo. In fact, Lagos came out and said the economy is richer than Kenya. Only Lagos. So we're not talking of some. We're not. It's not. We're not hyping it. It is what it is. We have 37 countries in Nigeria, but only oil, only small federal government collects more oil. How much is federal government getting from oil? Now imagine what federal government getting is peanuts. Only Agric alone in Delta State will make more money than what the federal government is making from oil. Let's look at Benin. And none of you, I have learned men in the platform. In those days, these people came to 9-4 in Benin, Malaysians. Today, they are the highest producer of red oil. How much are they making? Where is Benin? Where is Edo State? They don't have food to eat. Look at the new governor now.
That's true.
Come on, man. This doesn't make sense. Who brought us here? Somebody brought us here. All right. So I want to say that.
Were you the one that did that, Daddy Chris? I thought you were the one that did it.
I'm not. We have a lot of engineers. Anyway, what with three of us it works, but once we add Asaba, it's going to be difficult to see everybody. No, that's what it is. It's always beautiful when I do this, so we can talk. When it is intimate, you know what is really important here is how we address this difficulty. It is important and it is timely. Today is the day that we're going to be able to do so. Nigeria have all it takes. Use the word, all it takes. And we're looking at it as Nigeria. No, look at 36 nations in one nation. When you think like that, because, hey, so Benin Republic, are they not surviving?
They are.
They have an economy. Delta State doesn't have economy. Sorry, we don't. Lagos is trying. And Lagos is still not even doing what it's supposed to do with the potential in Lagos. You know how many population in Lagos State? If I tell you, where is the made in Lagos brand? Where is made in Lagos rice? Where is made in Lagos? Simple things.
Oh, there is. There is so.
Then it should be, you know, how much are they making? Madam, it's not the east. How much are they making on a yearly basis? That's my concern. It should not be hypothesis. You know, I want to just do this to please my people. No. The question is, how much are they making? I saw made in Delta, you know, a brand that somebody just made in there. Maybe not for that woman to collect money. You understand? But at the end of the day, ask how much are they making yearly for the state? It should not be a joke. This we are saying is serious. It's a serious issue. Can you guys imagine how much Nigeria will get if the 36 states begin to make money? They will not even remember federal government. Look at Rivers now. Federal government pull plug. Rivers can't reject. The governor didn't know what to do anymore. And we cannot continue. Listen, we have been talking for 1 hour. Listen, and we forgot to the newspaper review because we have those able men on the platform. Let's go on a quick break, quick one. And when we come back, we take a look at 1 or 2 papers. If we still have our men in our platform, we'll take a look at that before we end the show. It's already time to end the show anyway. But let's just take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Nigeria Week London 2025. It's time to celebrate the pulse of Africa's most exciting nation. Nigeria Week London 2025 is coming to Hippodrome Theatre from July 24th to 26, 2025, showcasing the best in Nigerian arts, music, fashion, and investment opportunities. Whether you're looking to discover the future of real estate, explore Nigeria's culinary masterpieces, or get immersed in an electric Afrobeat performance, this is the event of the year. You can also join us for a film festival, cultural dance spectacles, and the recognition awards. Don't miss out on the business opportunities and cultural experiences waiting for you. Book your tickets now before they're gone on eventbrite.co.uk. Call or text +447 438 893 190 or 080 330 46768. or +447 459 071 747. Visit our website superiorradioandtelevision.com. Nigeria Week London 2025. Nigeria Week London 2025, celebrating the best of Nigeria, is partnered with Civil Society, scaling up nutrition in Nigeria.
Anybody who miss Nigeria with 2025, now I know. I not talk. Anybody who miss Nigeria with 2025, now I know, because a lot. The Nigeria we are talking about, you see, and that's how I try to approach Nigeria in 2025. I'm not looking at it as a country. I'm looking at 36 nations that makes one. If you see, look at what the United States of America is. The economy of New York is different from that of Texas. They are independent. They even have their own police. They have a lot of things, so they're able to, they have that sense. Yes, we are in the United States of America, but this country is New York. New York generate their own money. Now, the money made in California alone is bigger than the whole of Africa put together. Only California. And it's making it from Hollywood, from movies. Delta State, I was going to come to that before our men. We're not lucky to be a place for Nollywood. What have we done with it? Are we making It's not mouth. It's not this thing we're just talking. And you cannot leave it for private people to drive it alone. It's not going to achieve the result. Who are the people making film in Asaba? Let them come. They don't have the resources. They don't. So, but if you know one movie made in the US, one generates about 4 billion, 5 billion. That is what a movie can bring into Delta State. If that is your potential, how much can you do in the state that will bring in money? Government will be interested. And you can partner with the locals. You don't allow people who don't have money to come and do it. They will do it. It's like you tell me, say, make my grandma, they go farm. He go farm, yes. But what is my grandma go bring for farm? What can a poor woman bring from a farm? Does she have the resources to farm? The answer is no. We are in the 21st century, this AI world. Not those days. And yet you expect, in fact, that's what we do. I think perhaps we have analog president, analog governor in a digital democracy. No more digital. In an AI democracy, it's no more digital. Sometimes when the millennium kids in those days, now they rape, then another generation don't come. Millennium don't go. Is it the G generation? How do they call them?
Gen Z.
So everybody goes through Odo. Let's see what we can have as our back. So we have a beautiful land. I love what this man said, our president. Our president said it's a beautiful country. Let's have our Asaba back. Asaba, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, we can't afford to close the show without having you people. But let's quickly, before you guys now shipping, because let's look at one area which Asaba is known for. They're known for making movies. I just touched upon it. Now, if people look down on what movies can bring in, then we are really blind. Hollywood generates 1/4 of the richest economy in the world. 1/4 of American economy comes from Hollywood. That's why California economy is bigger than the whole of Africa put together. The whole of Africa. Only California is bigger than that. And now the question is, if we have these kind of things at home, you said government don't have hand in business. Private people should do it. Who are the people going to make the movie? My grandmama go fit farm. Then the same thing. They compare my grandma farm with Obasanjo farm. Are they both farmers? No, my grandmother is farming in the village. Obasanjo have a farm. Are these two people farmers? It's an insult to call Obasanjo farm when you say Obasanjo is what? So, sir, we're looking at a mindset that need to be addressed. The governor of Delta State, which we're using as a point of reference today, is has the potential, or let me put it that way, has the potential because they have the human resources, they have the land, and they have the cash. In fact, they are in a position to be able to borrow money. I don't believe that a state should not borrow. But what are you borrowing money to do? To build roads? If you borrow money to set up the biggest farm, go to Holland, say the one that take the farm for that place, wanna come, see my land. I
Now,
give you all come and grow this farm for me. Will that be out of place? Why is the federal government even giving them cash? Why is the federal government giving these irresponsible states cash? If I am the federal government, I will give them cash. Go on, sir. Let me leave it with you.
Yes. I think you've been making reference to this issue of food security. I think I want to ask us, because we talk about government, Ibori, government. We, the citizens, we are part of the problem.
Okay.
Because I remember you are from Ethiopia, East or West, but you remember Songhai Delta, a government innovation to empower Deltans, and it's an agro-technology industry. We have farms. Deltans are taught a lot of farming methods and given starter packs to start their businesses. How have they grown with that? I grew up to remember the Uronigwe rubber plantations. What happened to all those rubber plantations? There is lack of continuity in government. Now, when a government is leaving, I'm trying to reference Songhai, for example. When an administration is ending and a new government is coming, proxies of the past government, who are managers probably of that farm, they loot everything in terms of furniture, air conditioners, farm implements. They loot it. It is not just these people that are leaders today. They didn't just become leaders. They were once followers.
Yes.
We have a product. Followership is a product of bad leadership. But as citizens, we need citizen responsibility too.
Yes.
We always complain, government. You made very good points. You were talking about infrastructure, building bridges. Can I inform you? Can I let you know that most of our farmers are excited today because of the Omadino Bridge, because of the Kwale Bridge. There was in Pontu before now. Most of these farmers that produce in the riverine areas, the interlands, cannot get their food stuffs to the cities. But with the linking of these bridges, building of these bridges, it is now achievable. Now, why do I say it? In as much as we have reservations for infrastructural development instead of food security, but I must bring to our understanding that this infrastructural development have reduced the pains, have reduced the losses of food. No government, nowhere in Delta State we have silo for grain storage. No storage facilities. We have a Ministry of Agriculture in the 36 states or 36 countries, as you say, that is only theoretical. None of the 90% of these ministries do not even have a farm. They don't have a farm. They just call themselves Ministry of Agriculture.
But is that not a sin? No, perhaps what I'm saying now, engineer, this is what I'm trying to say. Maybe you are right. Yes. Look at what you just mentioned. Sorry to cut you. You mentioned that the farms, most of the farmers, they don't have road to where they can bring their goods to the main market. The question is, what kind of farming are they farming? Because in an AI world, you are still using that kind of farm as a farm. That's why we are where we are. Those are no farms. If our government should stop that kind of farming, you understand? Says children come. It's like, because I know what it takes to farm now. I'm going to teach you the modern farming.
The government is not interested.
I'm not going to leave you to fail.
Because of the proliferation. But speaking, I love the perception. You made reference. One of the former governorship aspirants for the YPP, Young Party of what's his name? My personal friend is based in Holland. Yes. I mean, if governance, he said, if governance is a reflection of content and capacity, I would have asked that young man to be the governor of Delta State if I had the capacity. Because he's based in Holland, and I saw the ideas that he was bringing. But let me tell you, you're projecting good ideas. You're in the UK, good ideas, but the politicians will not want it because it will not aid that abate stealing. They enjoy a process that aids looting, a process that will help them loot, a process that will help them pass the budget. That is the kind of business proposals they need. This concept, yes, we are still in analog format. You talk about AI, yes, it's interesting, but our style of governance will not allow it. Why? We have turned politics to become a profession. We have turned it into a career. People have seen a lot of youths who start their political career saying, hey, once I become councillor, when I don't do that, I will come try when I will be chairman, I will be SA. If SA not work, it will make me SSA, one that will House of Assembly, one day if it's all those times, maybe when the governor should go rotate reach our side, I will look at the mindset. And the government, we know we have the same number, almost the same amount of public servants, because they are commensurate with the same amount of political appointees. Then why would people want to go to school? Majority of them, you see them now. That's why I don't have so much for any politician that comes out. I've just gotten a doctorate degree, a master's degree. I look at them and like, with BSc. Yes. These are things when I see you every day. Which time did you go and read? You went to buy it and you come. Which time did you go and read? Yes. I mean, what we need to do, sir, before we think of writing up, what we need to do is a mindset transformation of both the leaders and the followers. And we need to keep hammering things like this. If we don't transfer our mindset first, all these ideas we are projecting will not work. Because our system, now, before I leave, in 1984, January, Muhammadu Buhari came to visit Niger State. I was the federal government college main at them. The wife, Miriam Babangida's wife, had a school, Hilltop School. They have Hilltop Bakery too, where they produce Elami bread, they supply us bread in school. Buhari came to my school. He came to the assembly ground on January, I think it was Armed Forces period, January 17th or whatever. He told us on the assembly ground, I was a young boy from Wari then to Mina. He told us that we are the leaders of tomorrow. That was in 84, he just came into power. We are the leaders of tomorrow. And the tomorrow, I'm a father of 4 kids. My tomorrow has still not come. The same Buhari came and ruled me again. During my tomorrow, he came back to rule me.
No retirement.
So how do we project that kind of scenario to be able to? They have refused to. Most of the game players have refused to leave the stage for game changers. Their analog minds don't want to leave the stage for digital minds to take over and bring this kind of AI ideology that you're talking about.
Yes,
we need to transform our mindset.
We agree. Thank you. Communicator, I know you will give us the last word for the show. Thank you so much. In fact, I'm so blessed to have you people in the show. We're going to do something.
Thank you so very much. The one area you mentioned about the potentialities in Delta State, especially the city of Asaba, as it has to do with what we call here Nollywood. And yes, the state government has had to build a film village in order that some of these script writers, artists, producers, and all that, because it's an industry, and so much money goes into it. So government has invested into it with respect to the environment, so that a number of the communities here are used for their, for their shooting, and their locations. So it's an industry that the state government has tried to harness, and that industry is also having its own positive impact on the macro economy of Delta State. But we need a change of attitude. My colleague here has harped so much on it. Because government has its own responsibility, but the people also, we have our own duties also in order that the system will work. If as a Nollywood producer, you come into Delta State and you make your purchases, stay in the hotel and all that, and the owner of the hotel is not responsible enough to pay rate or tax to the revenue generating system of the state, there is a disconnect. Something is already done wrong, because the government has tried to
come up with a structure, but the citizens are not keying into that structure. And so that disconnect is such that the system cannot grow. So, yes, the government need to up their game. Oh, yes, our structure is not yet, some say it's structured to fail. The system is wired to fail. But I am not comfortable with very generic terms, so that we don't fall into the fallacy of overgeneralization. It's really not every person in government that is looting. And let's not stand on that pedestal and say all of them are looting, that they are. And yes, there are states where you have issues of continuity, and we can see what that is happening, how that is blowing up in Rivers State and some of that. But we have also seen states where the governor of Delta State, in all modesty and without trying to flatter anybody, he says he's come on board for more agenda. And what essentially is more agenda? A continuation from where his predecessor stopped. And we know their political relationship. We know the alliance there. But the person who added over to him incidentally happened to be a better refined Democrat than the fellow in Rivers State. That is why the situation is not blowing up. And the fact that they've been able to manage that transition and the system and structure are working in Delta State is predictable. So we can say democracy is working in Delta State. Delta State is leading the federation in sports. Here is the nursery bed where we develop sportsmen and women, athletes, and feed the nation and take it over to even West Africa and Africa. It is because the facilities for that development of sportsmen the facilities are in place. So we shouldn't politicize it. We shouldn't gloss it over. For over 5 years now, there are sports festivals that Delta has been hosting. Not just hosting, but winning and leading on behalf of the federation. Yeah. My colleague is helping me from the background. On behalf of the federation, it comes up almost towards the end of the year. That on its own is like a it's like a festival of its own. And Delta is known as hub of sports. And we know what sports is doing in terms of revenue generation, talent growth, entertainment. There's a business dimension to sports and all that. And so, what we are seeing about the steady growth of the economy, the training of youth when they are out of school, the startup pride. But of course, we need a change of attitude because there are people you train on how they can become self-sustaining and create jobs instead of looking for jobs. And you give them startup packs and they go out there and sell the startup packs. They sell the startup pack. So at the end of the day, will all the blame rest on the doorpost of the government? Government says you have gone through the university, but we know the state of our universities now and their training. A number of things are very theoretical. Okay, now let's give you a business orientation on how you can create job, how you can write memos, how you can manage 1-2 people around you, so that you don't remain a job seeker, so that you become a job creator. And at the end of the day, money is given to you, startup pack is given to you. Some persons go and sell it to look for money to add to it because they want to travel abroad, because they believe their destinies can only be realized abroad. And they do not want to develop what is inbroad. And some of them go, and at the end of the day, they are repatriated. We know what is happening in the US now. And at the end of the day, they get back here worse. So government has this responsibility. We have our duties as citizens. And until we are aware of our civic responsibility and we meet the government halfway, we might just be rigmaroling. And at the end of the day, a blame game. And government will come and go. And the citizen remains at that same spot. Because even in UK, there are people under the bridge. Even in US, there are people that are homeless. Yes. Even in UK, there are people in UK that the home they are living in, it's a mortgage. They have to pay for it for the next
all our homes. Only 2% have paid their mortgage. It's against the law to buy a house.
So when my friend in UK poses in front of his house and poses to me, but he's to pay for it for the next 35 years. And the way my brother here built is fully paid. He paid for it.
Have you seen our car?
He took money from
Even the car we drive.
the scenarios are such.
My mobile phone is on mortgage. This one.
It's a
It's on
mortgage.
mortgage.
I hope the car you are wearing is not a mortgage.
It's on mortgage. Everything here is mortgage.
It's a mortgage.
Mortgage is a nice way.
Yes, so if our system work better, we
Yes.
can also
Mortgage
achieve
is just a
better.
nice way of saying this.
Mortgage is a system we need to develop. We need to develop it. Because you really do not need to start building a house from foundation to them before you get, otherwise many people become homeless. But I mean, the situation here is not as disadvantaged as we try to portray it, but we need our government to be more responsive and responsible to the yearnings of the citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. In fact, we said it all. We're going to wrap the show, but I need this team. You guys are wonderful. What we can take from this, and I think it's really important, and I really want to touch a little bit on the potential. You mentioned something, and that's where we're going to end the show. You mentioned that the Nollywood impact the economy, the local economy, big fat.
It does.
Imagine somebody spending 20 million in your community. He's going to spend it in the hotel, on the food, people selling water. Everybody, it's the only thing you do that will engage everybody. That is why in the UK, if you come to shoot in the UK, they give you 20% of the money you spend. But that is because there is effective taxation. They call it tax credit. The tax you pay, they'll give it back to you. Say, come and shoot here, we'll give you your money back. They give you the same money you have spent. Here, they will give you police station to shoot, you pay. Take a hospital to shoot, you pay. Shoot on the street, street of London for 2 hours, you know how much you pay. So if there is no effective taxation, that was what we discussed yesterday. The government. The question I ask is Oboriori, do they think along that line? People will always want to get away with it too. Nobody wants to obey the law. In the UK, we don't want to. The only reason we do is because if you don't,
because the system compels you to.
You understand? And we need to understand that. And then we're going to look at actually enforcing laws in tomorrow's show. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I can't thank you enough for joining us on this wonderful show. We're going to make a team. I'm going to send a message to you guys. Please don't go away. The studio will address you before you leave. All right. And I really want to thank you, audience, for watching us. It's been a wonderful day. When I have a communicator here, a journalist, and an engineer. You see them, they are all public affairs analysts, and they've been able to put me where I belong. You know, it's not me. Put me where I belong. And that's what I love about this show. Thank you very much for joining us. And until tomorrow, we'll be here at the same time to address another important issue. And tomorrow, I also want us to look at the local rule of laws. Why do you people obey laws in the UK and they don't in Nigeria? Who is responsible? Let us look at that together. You see, I don't want to look at it from the big grammar. Let's look at it. Why do people not obey laws in Nigeria? Is it because they can get away with it alone? Or because somebody said yesterday that I'm not ready to pay my tax because the government is not responsible. So many things are happening. We need to address that. The country, Nigeria, my message to Nigeria today is that we have 36 nations in one country. If each of these nations begin to tap on their potential, Nigeria will rule the world. And that's my pain. You can't have 36 children that cannot bring something on the table. Why Roboma, they marry plenty wives so that all of them go help them do something. That's why I end the show. Thank you very much for joining us. Until tomorrow. God bless you. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Nigeria Week London 2025. It's time to celebrate the pulse of Africa's most exciting nation. Nigeria Week London 2025 is coming to Hippodrome Theatre from July 24th to 26, 2025, showcasing the best in Nigerian arts, music, fashion, and investment opportunities. Whether you're looking to discover the future of real estate, explore Nigeria's culinary masterpieces, or get immersed in an electric Afrobeat performance, this is the event of the year. You can also join us for a film festival, cultural dance spectacles, and the recognition awards. Don't miss out on the business opportunities and cultural experiences waiting for you. Book your tickets now before they're gone on eventbrite.co.uk. Call or text +447 438 893 190 or 080 330 46768 or +447 459 071 747. Visit our website superiorradioandtelevision.com. Nigeria Week London 2025. Nigeria Week London 2025, celebrating the best of Nigeria, is partnered with Civil Society, scaling up nutrition in Nigeria.
SRTV. Innovative content.